Right, then welcome back to the channel. Here's 5 things that we learned Brighton beating United in the 98th minute. So Luke Shaw was actually very unlucky. I thought he was outstanding again against Brighton. Possible man of the match. Defended aggressively. Had a lot of work to do as well because as Brighton do, they put you on the back foot and they make it difficult. And they're a bloody hard team to play. Very well organised and very, very good in possession. I would love to go watch a Brighton training session and just observe what the hell it is that they're doing down there. But Luke Shaw, he was a technician from front to back. He really looks at home at centre-half. I can't believe, from a player that when he played full-back, seemingly, not always, but at times the weakness with him was like defensive awareness. And I think some of it was because he was attacking all the time and then struggled to get back. But he always seemed to be jogging behind the play. And that doesn't ever strike you as a trait that's going to be good for a centre-half. But when he's at centre-half, he's dialed in. And being dialed into what's going on around him and having the agility and the technical ability, his reading of the game has just gone up levels by that slight change of position. Yes, there's a blemish for sticking his arm up and giving away a penalty, which he says he doesn't know why he did that. But I think Luke Shaw has absolutely 1000% made himself an option and a player that's got 2 positions that he can comfortably play. Number 2, CAICEDO. Absolutely destined for the top. He played right back yesterday and he still looked like one of the best players on the pitch. Talking about versatility, you know, he's an absolute complete footballer. And I think his ceiling is possibly limitless. He is such a good footballer. You know, it's alarm bells if he signs for one of our rivals and he is linked with a move to Liverpool. How true that is, I'm not sure, but he improves them in a tangible, noticeable way. He's so good. You know, it's interesting looking at some of the transfer targets that Solskjaer had, including the likes of Haaland and CAICEDO, and Ed Woodward decided to not go with those and to bring in and move heaven and earth to bring in Cristiano Ronaldo. I wonder what might have been if we'd assigned some of the players that Ollie wanted us to. Number 3, Casemiro's come off the boil. I think since he come back from his suspension, he's not quite been the same. And increasingly he's looked a tiny bit sloppy on the ball, in possession. Off the ball, maybe it's Brighton because of the tempo that they play at, but he struggles against these high intensity midfields like Brighton. Or should I say, specifically Brighton. I don't know if that lack of sharpness is resulting in some bookings. He's dived into some challenges a little bit rash. Looks like he needs the season to end and to go and sip a pina colada on a beach somewhere, doesn't he? And get himself right for next season. He still had a sensational season, but the last couple of weeks, you know, there's been a wobble, I would say. I think it's fair to say. You know, you can't talk about how good and how impactful someone's been without saying that was below the standard that he set for himself this season, which, in my opinion, it has been. Number 4, away form issue. It's an issue. We are winless away against the top half side, and the home and away form could not be more different. United's awful away record against the top 10 continues with 1 draw, 1 last-minute win, and 7 losses in 9 games. You can't spin that into a positive. Nor would I try. You just can't. That has to be fixed. That has to be changed. It's a record that is damning, but what is the reason? I spoke about this on the review last night and I couldn't not talk about it again today. I hope United are looking at all the data and going, right, what is it? And sometimes the data might give you answers, but you don't know if that's the cause or the effect. You don't, like, let's say our pass completion's lower away from home, which it might be, right? Is our pass completion lower because we're playing poorly, or are we playing poorly because our pass completion is low? That's on the management and data team to figure out. But they might uncover sort of, we're having 5 less shots per game away from home, or having 5 less shots per game because we're playing badly, or we're playing badly because we're having 5 less shots per game. Like, whatever the answer in the stats is, it doesn't mean that's the reason. That's just the effect that you're seeing. So I think they've got to figure it out, and I think I trust in Ten Hag to do that. You know, I don't feel like United have set up any differently away from home. You would assume Steve McLaren would be like, if we are getting a little bit giddy, he might be able to rein him in. I think it'll be a very, very interesting look at the club in the postseason, where they get into what we're actually about, what needs to improve, and all that sort of stuff. And I think they'll get there, but it absolutely needs doing in a big, big way. Because if we didn't even touch our home form, but we improved our away form, not even to be close to the home form, just improved it to being good, United would be contending for a title. That's the change that we've got to make. That's it. And number 5, half-time team. So the story of 2023, post-World Cup. Pre-World Cup, Manchester United would have a pretty ordinary first half, come out in the second half and blow somebody away. That feels like a different team at the moment, because in 2023, post-World Cup, we can come out quite sharp, maybe not being clinical, have a few chances, look pretty good, and feel like, yeah, this feels all right. This feels like a pretty 50-50 game. Like Anfield, for example, where I was texting my son, and I said, he said, how do you think this is going? And I was like, I feel like there's some more goals in this. I reckon 2-2. I didn't think 7-0 was on the cards. And that's the extreme example, but it's an example of what we've seen this calendar year from Manchester United in the second half of games. We've absolutely shut the bed. And we've lost games in the second half, dominated by Brighton in the second half last night. And it's not the first time that this has happened. Again, let's look into the causation and the effects. Are we running less in the second half because we're tired, or are we running less in the second half because we're being dominated? Like, I think the stats will show you that we're absolutely running less, and maybe that's one of the issues that takes more than a single pre-season and having the World Cup in the middle of the season to fix. If you've got a particular more intense style of play that a team isn't used to, it clearly takes teams a couple of seasons to get up to speed with that. We've seen that with every manager that's come in and asked a team to play a high-intensity level of football from a relatively low-intensity level of football. It's taken a period of adaptation. Solskjaer came in, had a little bit of success early doors, told the team that they were going to be the most intense pressing team in Europe, and then realised he couldn't play that and had to start playing off the back foot. It takes a couple of years. And not everybody gets the patience that they're going to need to be able to convert that and get it over the line in a successful system. You're going to need, I reckon, this summer's pre-season and maybe even next summer's pre-season before it starts to look like Manchester United can go an entire season. How many times have people said about the likes of Bielsa, oh, it's good, but can they sustain it for the length of the season? Oh, this is good, but can they sustain it for the length of the season? And then you look at how many games Manchester United have actually played this season. It's so many games that there shouldn't be any surprises that it's coming to an end the way it is. But it's disappointing that it's coming to an end the way it is, because there was so much promise at the start of the season. Now you're seeing blurts on social media saying that the Ten Hag experiment has failed. Do me a favour and go support someone else. Like, it's been a good season. There's still a chance for another trophy. I think we're outsiders for it, but there's a chance. And cup finals, weird shit happens. How many times do the favourites just win the cup? Doesn't happen like that. So, little bit of perspective needed, I think. Certainly wasn't fun, but it's not the end of the world. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.